all those transfers and everything else, Jay, are just sticking plasters to kind of cover. A bit like the government, really, going to something shiny over here while there's a fire going on over here. And as fans, you're seeing your club that those protests aren't from nothing. They're from passion to see what you want your club to be successful on and off the pitch, and as a community grow, which you can argue that you've not done because the Glazers are holding you back.
Yeah, I mean, 100%. The first thing is the transfers, because I get why some fans will look at it and go, well, you've got an £80 million central defender, you've got an £89 million midfielder, you've got Edinson Cavani on whatever wages he's on. How can you moan about that? But you look at what the club is worth, you look at the money that is spent by these owners of the club's money, furnishing this debt, paying off these loans, which is the club's money, which is around £50 million, I think, a season or a year. The fact that they still take all these dividends out, the fact we're still in, I think, gross debt is around 537 million. So the debt's not gone down at all. We're still in all this debt. So that sort of brings with it its own issues. And as Euan pointed out, we've got a stadium that's falling apart. You guys have been to Old Trafford, and you'll know it's not changed over the last 10 years. And it's got, it needs a lot of work doing to it. There's parts of it that basically need rebuilding. That's not been touched. You're talking about your training ground. Our under-23s and our women's team, that was so, we had all this, we announced this women's team with all this fanfare, and we talk about our academy and our under-23s being so great. They played down, well, not even down the road, they played miles away in Leigh Sports Village. That's Leigh's ground, not ours, because we don't have a designated ground for them, because we haven't spent the money on it. So there's all these different things going on in terms of, well, you just go, oh, well, they're putting money in transfers. They're not. Most of the money we have goes towards debt, and then some goes towards transfers. And it's also the nature of those transfers and the mismanagement. We've had times when this club looks like it could be moving forward, and they haven't backed the manager because the benchmark or what they aspire to is getting to the Champions League. So if we're in the Champions League, we don't need to worry. So when Jose finishes 19 points behind Manchester City, for example, we don't need to go big in the transfer window because we're in the Champions League and that's all we care about. So yes, we'll make one or two signings, but nothing major. So that issue, in terms of the community, one of the big issues that the fans groups have been asking for is to have this dialogue with the club, have someone on the board that's looking out for fans' interest, hear from the owners. You heard from your owner, is it John Henry? He did the video. He did the video. Now, you can criticise that video and you can say it wasn't heartfelt or whatever, but at least he bothered to do the video. Our owner, as sure as the day is long, I guarantee you now, he will not even read that apology that he issued, let alone written it. Someone will have wrote that for him, put his name to it, and they'll have gone, yeah, fine. He doesn't care about the club. They never cared about the club and its fans. There was a fans forum meeting with the club last week on the back of this apology where the owner said, I want to rebuild trust with the fans, which is nonsensical because he's never had any trust anyway. But he said, I want to rebuild trust with the fans. Does he attend that meeting? It's an online call. It's like, a Zoom call. He could quite easily pop on. No, he doesn't. He lets his lackey, Edward Woodward, attend it for him. So that shows you how little these owners care about Manchester United fans. And in terms of the community, United have always had a strong sense of community. It's what's been part of our heritage, reaching out to the local community and that sort of thing. There's none of that. They got some brownie points during the pandemic for putting NHS on the Manchester United sign and for not taking the furlough money. But this club doesn't care about the community. It doesn't care about Manchester United's history. You look at the European Super League, for example, full well, Liverpool got the same traditions in the European Cup that Manchester United have had. It's a big part of our sort of what makes Manchester United the great club it is our affiliation with that competition, and they were ready to throw all that in the bin. They just don't care about the fans at all, and it's quite easy to just look at some transfers and go, oh, well, you spent quite a lot of money over the last 8 years on transfers, but that doesn't tell you half the picture at all.
It doesn't seem a lot to ask for, does it? Like, just a bit of dialogue, communication, or just to A, feel respected or feel like you kind of cared about. You said there about, doing a Zoom call. It's not like you're asking to come on your podcast or your show or, go to the pub and be your best mate. It's to be recognised because for so long, fans have been treated like, cattle, like crap. And you can say, I'm sure you'd rather have a dialogue with them rather than another £80 million transfer this summer if you felt it was genuine and felt it was true. But because he's not come out and said anything, the trust, I suppose, the trust was never there, I suppose, was it?
No, you're right. It wasn't. I mean, it's ridiculous to say rebuild the trust. The Glazers have been in power now at Manchester United for 16 years. I might have missed it, but I don't even think I've seen an interview with any of them talking about Manchester United. I don't think they've done that. They talk about the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, which they seem to care about, and that seems to be their main priority. And we hear them, doing press conferences and interviews around that. But we never hear from these owners. They're completely aloof. All Manchester United is to them is a business. That's it. And what they don't get is it's more than a business. This is a football club with fans, with real fans that care about it. Every single Manchester United fan that was there on Sunday was there for one reason, because we love Manchester United Football Club, because we can see what is happening to Manchester United Football Club, and we want to do something about it. That's why we're there. Listen, I don't want to come on here now and be talking about a protest. I'd rather we came on here and we were talking about Manchester United beating Liverpool, obviously. And that's what I want as a United fan.
You.
Yeah, that would have happened.
I get that. I probably would have been on this channel. But that's what I want to be talking about. I don't want to have to go on a Sunday and protest. I'd rather I didn't have to do that, but I have to, because I love my football club and I can see what's happening to it. And it's a great point you made about Gillette and Hicks, because I was talking to one of my Liverpool fan mates yesterday, one of the few I've got, and he messaged me and he's like, what is all this about, and why are you doing all this? Is it really necessary? And I was like, well, look at it when you had Gillette and Hicks. What did you guys do about that? You didn't just go, okay then, yeah, we'll go along with this. And that's what's got to happen with football fans. Football fans have to stand up for the football club, because we've got owners in our case that just don't care about it.
Yeah, the Buccaneers point's really interesting, because I do follow the NFL, and my eyebrows were very much raised last year, because obviously I knew that the background that the Glazers had with the Buccaneers. The Buccaneers, to put into context, and I'm sure you guys maybe are clued up on how they're doing, because 18 months ago the Buccaneers were a nothing team, really. I mean, they certainly weren't close to any sort of NFL glory. And then about 12 months ago, the Glazers, and I don't know, the thing is, I don't know how the Buccaneers are run, so I don't know if it's a similar model where they're constantly, taking their own, the way that the franchise is generating revenue, and whether they put that back in, or whether they are taking money from their own pockets, which will be different to Man United, and putting it in. But they chucked a load of money at Tom Brady, who is the most successful NFL player of all time, and his mate Rob Gronkowski. And look at that, they went and won a Super Bowl last February. There's Joel Glazer on the podium with the Lombardi Trophy, with his cap on. And it must, we watched the Super Bowl that night, and I know you're not that into the sport, but when you read about the success and you read about the money they're investing, it must make you seethe. You know what I mean? With the way, as Jay said before, the amount of attention that they give that franchise over in the States, which, can't be a coincidence, and again, the lack of attention that they give to Man United.
Yeah, it's almost like looking at your parents giving a load of presents to your younger brother or sister, isn't it? They're just that's clearly where their attentions lie, and the way, what I explained with the way they run the club and how the money disappears. United is a massive cash cow, basically, and it's clear where the money is going. It's going in the pocket, and it's going to Tampa Bay, whatever they're called. I think you've overstated how much I know about sport there. but yeah, there was that stupid fact that I know you found amazing the other week, where the Glazers haven't directly spoken to Man United fans since Tony Blair or something stupid. It's been that long. They're the most absent people, and for someone of my age, where I remember the green and gold protest in 2010, but I was only 10, 11 years old, so I didn't understand it. I just sort of thought, oh, they're the owners and they're bad, we don't like them, sort of thing. But they just feel like these sort of mythical creatures, the Glazers, that you just never see and you never hear from, but we all know they're bad.
Let's talk about the protest, Jay. You were there yesterday. Just give us a sense. How did it feel to be there? What was it like? Obviously Sky were really banging the drum that it was peaceful, and obviously there were a couple of idiots that we don't want to dwell on, because it happens. So there's people who take it too far, and that's the way it is. And not all fans should be tarnished with the same brush, in the sense of that 99% of fans yesterday were there to try and just make their voices heard, and that's what it was about. But just being part of that crowd again, how did that feel? Did you feel like you were achieving something? Because I hope that you did.
Yeah, I'm not going to lie to you. It was. I really enjoyed myself. I had a great day. I saw fans, friends that I've not seen since pre-lockdown. The last time I saw them was when we played Manchester City, when we had a crowd there, when Scott McTominay got that late sort of, not winner, but the late goal. So I was able to meet up with old friends and chat to them, and see them again. There was a great atmosphere there. There was thousands there. We were singing songs, chanting, and it felt like you asked about, did it feel like something, part of something? Yeah, it did. It felt like we were, not just there to enjoy ourselves, but to get a message across. And we saw the TV cameras there. We knew that we were sort of, the world's media was on us, and that the message was loud and clear. And it was just great. I felt really proud of Manchester United fans yesterday, and I felt proud to be a part of it. I really did. And even after what went on, when people getting on the pitch and the game getting postponed, I still felt proud, because all day today, all this morning, on the front and back pages of papers and across the world's media, It's been talking about Manchester United. It's been talking about the owners as well. That's what we wanted. We wanted people to try and understand where we're coming from. And it seems to have started that dialogue and that sort of awareness amongst a lot of people, amongst a lot of newspapers, or amongst a lot of news agencies that perhaps weren't covering it or weren't aware of how much sort of anger and distrust there was towards these owners. Because what sort of happened a lot recently is people have just painted it as this European Super League problem. So why are you still complaining when you've got the European Super League is no longer a thing? It wasn't just the European Super League. It wasn't the European Super League in 2005. It wasn't in 2010 when Euan, like myself, I was only about 10 years old then. When that happened.
Sure, mate,
yeah. But yeah, it wasn't then. It was about these owners. I think what's happened with the Super League is it's just brought it to the forefront of a lot of people's minds. It's almost like that straw that's brought the camel's back for a lot of people. And now we're just thinking, we're not having it. And we went down there in our thousands. Like you said, it was a peaceful protest. Yes, there were one or two. I think there was probably fewer arrests yesterday than there would have been had United and played Liverpool and the fans had been in there. I think there was only like a handful of arrests. I'm not condoning that, by the way. I'm just saying, you have to put it into perspective that the vast majority of the thousands and thousands of fans there protested peacefully and got the point across. And the point was that we don't want the Glazers at Manchester United Football Club anymore.
But I think on the back of it, Euan, it felt, even as a Liverpool fan, yesterday felt like a big win for fans because ultimately, as we sort of said at the top of the show, it shouldn't be underestimated what they managed to do yesterday. They postponed the biggest game in English football at a crucial time of the season where, in the league, your Champions League place is quite safe, and I know you're in the middle of bigger fish to fry with the Europa League semi-finals. But, for Liverpool, it was a big game. We needed to win yesterday to try and get ourselves into the top four, and we couldn't. Obviously, we were denied the opportunity to do that. So on the back of it, it feels like a big achievement. They've said no. They've said to Sky. They've said to the Premier League. They've disrupted all of these massive media businesses and these huge companies. It feels significant, doesn't it?